Hi there, this is Mohammed Vahed, part of the Khamissa Vahed Public Speaking Academy, your number one public speaking specialists. In today's segment of our series on public speaking, we're going to be looking at how to conclude your topic. And in this segment, we are going to be covering 7 different ways or things to bear in mind in concluding your topic. The first one is we should ensure that we always refer back to the opening. And the example we like to give is that of a necklace. So when you are starting your presentation, you start with the first bead in the necklace, and as you're speaking, you're covering the different beads, and you must ensure that at the conclusion, the last bead meets the first bead. Then you know that you have done justice to the topic. Quite often what happens is that a speaker speaks, he gives 1 or 2 points, and then he goes off at a tangent. He actually loses track of what he's saying, and he does not come back to the beginning. So a very important and crucial aspect to remember in conclusions is that we need to come back to the beginning. A second very important aspect to remember in concluding the topics is to use an appropriate quotation. For example, if we are talking about changing ourselves, change begins with me. So at the end of the presentation, we could conclude on a quotation such as the following: everyone thinks of changing the world, but no one thinks of changing himself. What a powerful ending that would be to your presentation. The third aspect to bear in mind, and this is very powerful not only for the beginning of your speech, during the speech, as well as to the end, at the end, is to ask a question. Because the advantage of asking questions is that you get your audience thinking. So before you ask them what to do, and before you give them the instructions, the take-home message, you can phrase it in the way of a question. And there's various ways to do this. Another very important thing to remember in concluding your topic is to tell a story. Again, you could commence the public speaking or your speech with a story. When people are losing their attention during the course of the presentation, you tell an appropriate story. And again at the end. And the reason why we recommend stories is because we are all children at heart. Whenever we hear the quotation, once upon a time, we get this feeling of what's coming next, and it gets us involved in the story. So in order to end appropriately, we always recommend that one of the things you could do is tell a story. And it doesn't have to be long. It could be short, like the example I'm going to give you now. Today I interviewed my grandmother for part of my research paper I'm working on for my psychology class. When I asked her to define success in her own words, she said, "Success is when you look back at your life and the memories make you smile." Now, what a powerful, short, succinct story to say. The fifth thing that you could remember in concluding a topic is to choose an appropriate poem. We've come across a number of international speakers who, at the end of their speech, they will pull out a paper from their pocket and read out a quotation or a poem which is very, very pertinent to the topic, and it will end on a very high note. The sixth thing that we need to bear in mind, and this is something that we need to also be aware of at the beginning of our speech, is the tell formula. Now, what does this mean? It simply means that at the beginning of the speech, I must tell the audience what I am going to tell them. Then I must proceed to tell them. And at the conclusion of the speech, I must tell them what I told them. Now you might ask, what are the benefits of this? The benefits are immense. Generally, when we go to a speech, to a talk, and there are 5 points that the speaker has made, and we are thrilled with his talk, and we want to take the message home and tell our loved ones. But when we try and recall how many points would we normally recall? 2, 3 maximum. So we are actually doing the audience a favor when we summarize what we have told them in the form of the tell formula. And the seventh point that we should bear in mind, and this is the crux of your speech, is to tell the audience what to do, the take-home message. And if you do not have a powerful take-home message, then we really haven't done justice to the talk. So we have to leave them with a message, with a call to action, a very powerful call to action that will get them stimulated and get them to do what we would have liked them to do right from the beginning. I pen off now. This is Mohammed Vahed of the Khamissa Vahed Public Speaking Academy, your #1 public speaking specialist. Thank you very much.